Hey, what is up everybody? This is Tattoo Bart and welcome to the channel. In today's episode we got another really cool review. It is from a brand that is fairly new to me. It's called NISIMP or NISIMP, and they gave me a bunch of their needles and they just started to produce these kind of needles. So we're gonna have a look at it, see how they look, see how they feel, and ultimately test them and check them on all things that I always like to check whenever I'm testing needles, which is ink flow, stability, and all things like that. But let's first see how they look when we take them out of the package. So the packaging and everything just seems really good, and I think the needles are very well made. What I have had sometimes in the past with these needles is they are super soft kind of metal, so they are very bendy, and this one actually seems nice and sturdy and probably give a good punch to the skin. I do have to say the spring feels a little bit tight on, it gives a bit more resistance than what I'm used to, but maybe when we are getting to tattooing it actually doesn't affect it too much. One other suggestion is that I don't really like this label. It is handwritten, and if you have such a nice packaging that snaps off, that has a nice printed label on here, I would really suggest the company to have a similar sort of label, even with the production dates and the expiration dates that are on the box. So if you have, like, for example, a needle type that you don't use so much and it's been sitting in your drawer, you can see it right on the package when it was produced and when it expires, and it just looks a lot cleaner overall when you have a nice printed label on the box, nice and visible, instead of a handwritten little note. But enough jibber jabber, let's get some practice skin ready and let's test some of these needles out. Now I don't want to test out every single thing because we have a couple of different liners and a couple of, we have a round shader, some liners and some magnums. I want to test one of the magnums, I want to test the 5 round shader just to see how it lines and how it works. And I want to test the 3 round liner because that always shows how stable the needle actually is. We're going to test it on ink flow, stability, and overall quality of the needle, or how it produces a line, if it's fine, if it's a bit wider than what I'm used to. So I will come back later after the testing and give you my insights on these needles. So that was the review of our NISIMP needles, the Dia Pro needles that I should probably mention. I absolutely really love this, and I have had a lot of different needles in the past, and they were in a whole variety of qualities. And these are one of those needles that I'm like, yes, these are actually really good. And I had the same thing with the U cartridges. Yeah, the U cartridges from Dragonhawk. They are just made in a certain way that they just work really convenient. I always love when there is like these little soft rubber thingies on the cartridges, because I mean, I've been tattooing for a while and you get these little bumps, and maybe these little silicone thingies around the tip will help with these kind of problems. Not that I really care, but you know, if you are a female tattoo artist, you might care a little bit more about things like that. But other than that, these needles just work really nice. The ink flow is good, the stability is good, the hardness of the needle itself is really good. And I think you could actually produce really good quality work with these needles. Now, I do have to say, with the 5-round shader, I am not the biggest fan of using round shaders whenever I'm tattooing. I could use it for like small packing things, but to line with it, it's usually not really my favorite option to go to. And you can probably see that on the practice skin that I was struggling a little bit with pulling a nice line with a round shader. But I was absolutely shocked, because usually when you use a 3-round liner from a company that you have never pretty much heard about before, you will always see inconsistencies in the needle, because a 3-round liner is pretty much like a triangle like that. And in order to get a nice crispy line, you need to have a really good soldering, and they need to be made with good quality. Otherwise, it just shows. You get 3 separate lines, or you almost get like a double line. It's just not very sharp. In this case, it was super sharp. So I was really, not really surprised, but I was really happy to see that these needles are made in a very good way. Now, like I said, this brand is fairly new to me, but I am really excited about the needles that they created. They intentionally send this to me. It's like, hey, have a look at them and give us some feedback on what you think about it. And I was like, sure, I will do that, but I would also like to share it with my audience. And they were absolutely cool with that. So I'm super happy that they just gave me the opportunity to pretty much do whatever I want to do and just give some feedback to them. And I think that is very, very cool, and probably gonna head back to them and see if we can arrange something to get a little bit more of these needles, because I really love them. Now, I do think they currently only have a batch with like smaller sizes, so they might go up to like a 7-round liner, I think, or I believe. They don't have like 11 and 14-round liners yet, or very large magnums, but they probably will come later in the future. When this brand starts to expand a little bit. If you are interested in buying any of these needles, I will put a link in the description down below so you can have a look at them for yourself. Other than that, I don't think I have a whole lot more to say, other than I wish you all a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video.